Well, let's have the teams from yesterday present whichever order they want.
Hello.
Yes.
A. We'll go first na, Andre.
Okay, boss.
Okay, sure.
Hello?
Yes.
Ayan. So yung ano namin, yung elevator paragraph namin or for the solutions that we will offer is we will create a solutions portfolio in HR, admin, and finance that is packaged according to the predetermined needs of the target stakeholders. So what we do kasi, prior to this session, we dive into our parang target stakeholders. So we have given them specific persona talaga, parang for us to determine yung needs ng per persona ng stakeholders namin. But startup pa rin siya. So yun yung solution namin.
Miguel, with your questions, if any.
Wait, what's your context again from the start? MA.
Context.
Just to refresh my memory.
Okay. Sige. So, shared services business. So, our target stakeholders are startups. Our vision of impact is for leaders who need to juggle focusing on business core and support operations, to leaders that have the ability to focus on their most impact core area with having the peace of mind and confidence of their compliance and support operations. So the challenge of focusing on their core while managing yung back-end operations. So yung solution, yung iterated solution namin is we will create yung solutions portfolio in HR, admin, and finance that is packaged according to the predetermined needs of the target stakeholders.
In this case, the leaders.
Mm-hmm. So basically, yung na-envision namin na solution dito is we will define. So parang makikita na ng leader kung ano yung persona. Then we will open that. If they're under that persona, meron ng predetermined solutions na nandun. So if they think they wanted to avail that, so yun yun. So yun yung itsura ng package.
So para siyang a suite of applications. Is that what you're saying?
For example, yung ano kasi namin is startups, di ba? So yung startup na yun, parang define namin siya into 3. For example, yung una is yung operating startups. So sa operating startups, yun yung unang persona. If you're startups and you're operating, we will predetermine your needs. And from that needs, we will create your package. Now, naisip namin na this is what you need. And then meron sample, pangalawang persona namin are those startups na decided na to open their business but they are still unregistered. So during this na naka-ECQ kasi tayo, parang on our end, we cannot do naman yung manual registration kasi yung registration of business is manual talaga siya. But for unregistered startups na decided na to start their business, we have also services na we can offer to them, na we can work on while nasa until April 30 pa yung ECQ. Yan. So mayroon kaming mga service for them na pwede rin nilang i-avail. Actually, yung third na persona dito are those parang leaders na they already have the innovation, they already have the idea, but they are not parang decided to open the business yet. because parang wala silang idea of the feasibility of the business. So parang isa yung may solution kaming gustong i-offer sa kanila if they want to also. So yun yung third na persona. So yun. So according to personas, we will predetermine their needs and then makikreate kami ng package per persona.
Okay. So how do you identify these personas?
How do we identify this persona? For example, maglalagay, actually is lang siya, parang very simple lang siya na first persona, for example, if you are unregistered startup, but you're already decided. Wala pa kaming parang pinaka-term of the first persona, but that is how we describe the first persona. Parang if you are decided to open the business, but still you are unregistered, parang ito yung package na we can offer for you during, na you can think of also during this ECQ period. For example, meron din kami sa existing na mga SME and sole proprietors na so habang nasa ECQ, these are our packages na you can parang pwede nyo tingnan if you wanted to avail our service for you. Ganyan.
Okay. MA, so who exactly is your stakeholder then?
Startups.
Leaders of startups. Okay.
And then define lang namin siya into personas.
Okay.
For now, how we name these personas according muna sa description nila.
Or the different states that they are as a startup.
Yes.
So you have someone that's already running a startup. You have someone that's still thinking of setting up a startup, but they don't want to because mahirap mag-set up ng business. Tama ba?
Ano ba? Merong decided na talaga na mag-start ng business, but ayun, tama naman. Hindi pa nila alam kung saan sila magsisimula. So yun yung package na
Okay. In terms of the call this. So there's basically a suite of products that will help people, that will help startups get started with their business and continue it, specific to mga shared services type of offering. Okay. Okay, sige. Were you, well, okay, I wouldn't ask you to test it, but sige, I kind of need to see your, well, this is for me, but you have anything to say, Andre, about this?
How are you gonna? I don't understand your language of predetermined needs. Can you give an example of what that is?
For example, our first persona are those startup, but unregistered, but they are already decided to register their business. For example, after the ECQ.
Yeah, no, I understand that. So what does predetermined mean?
So it is predetermined because we can already determine their needs according to their persona. For example, if that is your persona, for us, this is what you did. For example, number one, we will help you identify what nature of business you can register. For example, a sole prop, example, a corporation, or maybe parang pwede nating i-under sa BMBE na program ng government. Number two, pwede naming ilagay doon yung service ng if you are a startup na decided na pero hindi mo pa alam yung process kung saan ka magsisimula, we can give you that portfolio also. For example, saan ka magsisimula, how to register, ano yung mga requirements, ganyan. To register your business, saan, anong government agencies, it's a step-by-step process. But then, if you want also to avail, meron din kaming ilalagay dyan na mga service na we will prepare all the requirements for you guys and ikaw na maglalakad. But if then you prefer na kami rin yung maglakad, we can also wait until the ECQ is lift up and then kami yung maglalakad ng registration of your business. So it is predetermined kasi alam na namin yung kailangan mo based on your persona.
So parang your list of requirements change depending on what state you are in your startup.
Parang step by step din kasi siya eh. So parang if we can put rates per service, for example, meron kasing mga business na, ay hindi, kaya ko naman maglakad. Yung gusto ko lang is malaman kung ano yung proseso. Number one, step by step, ano yung mga requirements, saan ako pupunta. Like the knowledge of how to register and their business. Minsan kasi yun lang yung gusto nila. Kasi yung iba, nangyayari sa kanila is they will tend to research on their own and ask several people kung ano yung gagawin nila. Meron din na gusto yon, but gusto rin nila na kami yung maglakad. Parang ayaw talaga nilang maghawak nung registration ng business nila. So pwede rin kami rin yon. Parang ganon.
Who is in your team?
Shanice, June, Mafi, Aileen.
Okay, here's what I think you guys need to begin with. You need a better elevator paragraph that goes straight to the point about what I'm about to say. And what I'm about to say is, have you ever seen a restaurant menu?
Yes.
So how is a restaurant menu done? Describe to me a restaurant menu.
Sa restaurant menu, meron siyang mga, for example,
categories.
Breakfast, dessert. So for dessert, meron siyang mga, what are the desserts? So for breakfast, what are under breakfast?
So in other words, by section, right?
Right.
Desserts, appetizers, main course, fish, chicken, beef, ganyan. Section may naka-itemize. Ano yung elements? May price, right? In some cases, per item, meron pa mga elaboration kung ano yun.
Yes.
Right? So is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Tama. Meron ding mga
part, right?
Yes, tama.
Here's another thing for you. In some cases, restaurants have pre-packaged what you call the predetermined package.
Yes.
Package for 10. Package
Yes.
for 20. Tapos
Yes.
pre-select na doon yung predetermined. This is essentially what you're saying, right?
Tama. Oo, yan.
Okay, so you need to do two things around this area. First, you might as well do a rapid prototype of what this menu looks like, right?
Right.
And you combine your elevator pitch, your elevator paragraph so that it flows into this menu.
What do you mean combine or elevator?
You have an elevator pitch, diba? So you say this product is about blah 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 blah. After your menu,
Okay.
right? Because the elevator pitch will be a lot clearer if the menu comes right after. For example, your menu, your elevator pitch would be something as simple as we are a shared services team offering menu of business services for startups and small enterprises. Here's the menu. So
Okay.
they have two ways then of navigating the menu. Either they can go a la carte, choose. So they choose an appetizer, a rice, whatever. And then, or they can choose your predetermined packages. Right?
Yep. Okay.
Are you ready to put together this menu? Yeah.
Clear naman na siya sa team. So,
But is your team clear on what the menu is going to be?
Yes. May mga ano na kami, may mga pero hindi pa siya written though. May diniscuss na namin yung mga possible solutions na i-offer namin per menu, for example. But
Okay.
we need to write them up pa.
So what should be clear here is you need to work with Gian for UI, UX.
Gian. Okay.
Because that's the key here. How to make it easy to navigate and make choices. Okay?
Okay.
Now, assuming you can get all of that done, that's not the real battle. That's the easy part. Okay? That's the easy part. The harder part is, in order to make this a revenue generating thing, you need to be able to have a market this. How are you going to find
Market
these?
list?
How are you going to market this? How are you going to find startups?
Okay.
How are you going to find your customers? Or how are they going to find you?
Yep.
That's actually, to me, the bigger challenge
Yes.
in putting together this menu.
Yes. We have plan for this already. Parang pwede ko ba siyang ma-present?
I want you to try to use.
This,
Pag nag-PowerPoint tayo, I want you to just answer the question first.
okay. So how to market this? So we're thinking about kasi ay parang with partnership with ano din sa website, sa web team. Parang we can ask them to make a website, or for example, website, maybe Facebook. Ganun pa lang yung naisip namin ngayon on how to market. Pwede rin kasing referrals.
Can I?
Yeah, I just want to say that the product here is easy. The menu is easy. The hard part is finding doing the marketing for this one.
Actually, to use the restaurant analogy, I think what you're trying to look for is what type of cuisine is this all going to be. So you have to go back to those needs that you've identified, those pain points, and actually, try to understand what type of tonality and flavor should you have, to communicate this. Because if you think about it, it's pretty, well, obviously it's something within the context of having to do a reset and things like that. Or also understanding that contextually, we don't know how the startup, small, medium enterprise industry is going to be after all of this. So probably enriching your understanding around that, and then see how that will help you determine the necessary launch material, tonality, language, and how you're going to approach this altogether.
Miguel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I need you to come in as some sort of an IDF surgical here. help them with the launch and the marketing.
Yeah.
I do believe the product is solid. I do believe we can have a market.
Mhm.
I know this team. I know they can deliver. They have to have the right materials and help them rapid prototype the marketing and launch of this.
Yeah.
Ganun lang.
Mhm.
Especially to give it a wicked kick so that it doesn't sound like karinderya.
Yep.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Sige. I'll help them on that.
Obviously, it shouldn't sound like a Michelin star restaurant either, right?
For sure.
So,
Yeah. So, but I'll give them some tools so they can work on that.
in fact,
And then
we're at it. It probably sounds more like a high-end fast food. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, something more hipster.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
guys,
so-
ito na. You have to put a persona as to the business decision maker you are gunning for. Is it the owner? Is it the founder? Is it the HR person? If it's the owner of a founder, what type of entrepreneur? Kilala namin yun nila Miguel. Di ba? That's why Miguel suddenly came up with his hipster Di ba? Because again, you have to come up with and describe who your persona is of this entrepreneur
Okay.
or business owner. Hipster ba yan?
Siguro, you should write maybe, aside from the elevator like paragraph, write yung portrait of the stakeholder, just maybe, like an image of who could be, describe them so that it's also clearer to all of us na this is the person we need to, ito yung audience natin, this is who we have to communicate with. So maybe that's something you can also work on so that we all have a clearer, it will help also as I'm helping you craft this as well.
Okay.
Can I just
Okay.
pitch in from the customer's perspective? Because I had a conversation already with Eileen. In fact, hindi pa ito nabubuo. Kino-customer na nila ako. So to customer persona from my end, before I started Ignite, I was having really a hard time getting somebody to deliver me these kinds of services as from the 22 Holistic Wellness Consulting. And I know a couple of consultants were having a hard time trying to avail of these kinds of services as well. And then another one, as a startup, yung UCast studio that I'm setting up. It's also a small enterprise that we don't have yet. Anybody's going to be taking care of that. So those are two personas that you might want to think of in terms of yung needs na ko and yung needs ng UCast studio.
Yep.
Okay, so I again, Miguel and Marianne, I want to see a partnership between the two of you to take this off the ground. Okay. I do not believe in Facebook marketing to launch this off the ground. Basically, I do not believe that that's going to be your answer because you didn't do anything else, right? If that's your answer because that's really your answer because you studied it and that becomes your answer, well and good. But more important than product here, the product is straightforward. You guys know how to do this. It's how do you reach the market and how do you make them want to take you up over. You also have to position against the nearest alternatives. Miguel, what are some of the nearest alternatives here to what they're offering?
Well, I can think of, I have a freelancer that I usually tap that does all of these for me. So that's, that's proven to at least get me through, so there are those. I know there's smaller firms that do something like this also. I just can't pin
Lawyers.
a name to it, but
Depende.
yeah, mga lawyers,
about the appetizer
mga
part,
sideline.
registration, yung mga lawyers who do that as well. So, how do you position So, but tama rin si Miguel, madaming freelancers na gumagawa niyan. One-man shop, two-man shop. What would our advantage be over that? I can think of a lot. We already have a brand. Ignite would love to lend its brand to what you're doing. We could be a lot cooler setup than Amy in her garage.
And just like a leveraging technology, at least from what I'm seeing now, being and seeing how they're using like technology, that automatically sets it apart. I mean, assigning documents, things like that, it just makes it all easier.
Yeah, yung mga online digital processes nyo. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of these one-man, two-man shops will not be able to do.
Don't do that at all.
Yeah, they're still going to be like, okay, tawagan kita tayo pag tapos na to ha. Di ba? Okay.
Or mga hingi ng suhol, ganyan.
So I think you guys are in good shape, but you need to focus and keep up the pressure. Don't get too comfortable. Launch this.
Sige, let's schedule something later, MA, after the call.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, good job.
Right,
Thank you.
Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Next.
Thank you.
Who wants to go next?
Kami na sa media house. Since we have a lot of stuff to cover. Tawag nito. So what we did was, since coming off of the BD meeting kanina, nirevise namin yung stakeholder mismo. So now, yung iterated response namin sa stakeholder, and kasi if you remember, yesterday it was business leaders who have these kinds of employees. Now, gusto talaga namin i-target employees na mismo, employees of big companies who have currently shut down temporarily, hence leaving them idle and stagnant, while probably they have consumed all their leave credits or they are continue to be paid by the company, but the company has no development plans for them in place. So how have we encountered them? So this is more relatable to us. This is more of a pain that we can relate to as a team because we have our own circle of friends, acquaintances. We have encountered these during our AHABIZ research. So these are our contemporaries basically. And personally, it pains me when I learn of people like this who are, yun nga, parang wala silang ginagawa ngayon sa bahay. Parang I worry for them personally. Okay, so how are you or your company going to adjust sa restart? So, yon, that's our stakeholder. Ngayon, dun sa pains, sa target problem is, although these employees might be taking their time now to slow down and rest, kasi yun yung para mindset nila ngayon, somehow they recognize that it's important for them to be mentally and emotionally prepared for when the markets reset. Kumbaga, it's at the back of their heads. I mean, we don't, meron din kasi yung mga yung parang wala talagang pakialam at all. Parang bahala na. For us, we are more concerned about how can we address the pain points of those who have these in the back of their heads. Parang, okay, so what am I and us as a company gonna do pag nag-reopen na ulit yung market? Pero since wala nga ginagawang leaders for them, they don't know where to begin. How has the crisis worsened this pain? So right now, yun nga, like I said yesterday, their leaders don't have the bandwidth to develop them in any way, shape, or form. They recognize itong mga tao na to, itong employees na to, professionals, that they might... Yeah.
Then they do not have the bandwidth to develop what?
To develop these people, their people.
Okay.
Ayan. So itong mga employees na to, they recognize that they might be caught off guard when the markets reopen. So baka natatakot din sila na hindi sila makapag-catch up sa new normal. So, okay, wait lang. Hindi ko mabasa.
Adali, just to clarify, so what you're saying is, so these are employees nga that are stuck in a situation wherein post operations lahat,
Yes.
Baka malamang pinapasweldo sila pero literally wala silang meeting, wala silang
Yes.
ginagawa.
Yes, oo.
Okay. And then, but of course, hindi naman na sila parang, I mean, some are freeloading and just enjoying and probably having a piña colada somewhere. But like,
Yes.
but there are those that actually, care and see, okay, I can't be
Yeah.
idle again. So
Oo.
that's what they're wondering. Okay.
Yes. Tapos parang wala silang, they don't know where to begin. Since wala nga plans yung ano nila, tawag nila, yung leaders nila for them. So yun. So, ang from to statement namin is, wait lang, okay, so, from employees being lost and therefore unprepared in terms of how they and their company will adapt to the new normal, to employees, sorry. Mali ba? Ano, to employees being more mentally, emotionally well-equipped as they face the new normal. So, what do you think of that, Andre? Is it more clear now?
It's clear. I am just very concerned that you are so focused on the lockdowns. It sounds to me that this is lockdown specific. So what happens to our revenue potential and our solutions past the lockdown? I'm not hearing very much past the lockdown.
Mm-hmm. Our assumption is kasi, ano siya, parang even if the lockdown, the Luzon lockdown ends on April 30, let's say, ano siya, parang hindi pa siya totally mag-restart. Parang ano pa rin siya, slowly pa rin yung pag-ease up ng lockdown, ng quarantine. So we're seeing this parang still 1 to even 3 months na nag-ease in yung mga tao into the new normal. And still, even after the lockdown, hindi naman agad ano yun eh. Parang this will still be relevant because during the new normal, ano pa rin siya? Parang it will still be relevant after the lockdown, after the quarantine. That's
Yeah,
hindi
but
naman,
I'm not hearing that in your expression of how you're connected to this stakeholder or your discussion of their pains. I'm hearing from you something that is just very centered on that's precisely my point. I too recognize that there is relevance here beyond the lockdown, but the way you're communicating it, I get the sense that you're just zeroing in on the lockdown.
Mm-hmm. For now, yun yung ano namin, yung naging parang consensus namin, people who are currently, yun nga, parang during the lockdown. So we still have to modify this in terms of how this looks like after the lockdown. Although in terms of relevance, we still see the relevance, but we have to reword yung problem and stakeholders.
Or maybe Dandy, you can even broaden your understanding. Kasi right now,
yes,
kasi what's happening is, if you think about it, these companies that aren't doing anything, it's not because it's not just because of the lockdown that they're this way, but maybe they're just that type of let's say, like a business leader that, they would just wait it out and, things like that. So if you think about it from a broader perspective, na parang, okay, what if we're talking about leaders that are not proactive, let's just say, and parang, and they have organizations that are more reactive than proactive. But by framing it that way, it actually broadens this. It still fits within the context of being in a lockdown, but like now, by saying, that they're generally, maybe your hunch is they're generally more reactive than proactive. So parang, how would you parang shift this towards someone like that? Because right now nga, it's a little bit too specific that it might limit us. So let's see how. I don't know what the exact term is, but really just parang just seeing it from a higher, uh, from a broader point of view, focusing maybe on some maybe behaviors that this type of leader or employee or organization is communicating.
Just to throw it there, I agree with Miguel. No, while we always espouse focus and specificity, the way you're currently talking about it is the problem may not be a sustained problem. The way you're talking about it, because you're not tapping into some sustained, broader, deeper, in fact, broader and deeper strain. May ano yan, may virus strain yan. Itong issue na to, hindi lang to pandemic. Meron talagang, kumbaga, deep flaw yung mga tao, yung mga systems that you're talking about. Now, Miguel put it as the contrast between reactive versus proactive. That might be close, but I think it might be more, and here I'm attaching personas already, no? People I know. It might less be of them being proactive versus reactive. It might be more of them being very hard skill type of bosses versus holistic type of bosses.
Okay, yes.
What do I mean? So a lot of my friends are bosses now, right? They're just like very results oriented. Let's just do finance well, get the outputs well. They don't have a broader sense, and they might even be nice enough and emotionally intelligent enough to joke around with their people, to make kumusta their people, but they don't have the programming because they don't have the DNA in them to take care of people more holistically as human beings. Kasi times like this, yung mga bosses na sinasabi nila, yeah, magaling makisama yan. In peacetime versus wartime. No? And unfortunately, the kind of wartime we have right now will have long-standing traumatic repercussions. No? Pag peacetime, yung mga boss na, magaling makisama, magaling makipag-joke, blah, blah, blah. Pero yung ano na yun, that way of taking care of people, mababaw lang yun. Hindi uubra yan sa ginangyayari ngayon. Now you need to really understand what it means to take care of human beings who have frayed emotions, who are in panic, who are in fear, who are not whole anymore. They're, and they do not have that in their programming.
Although,
So,
Andre,
yeah.
question lang. So, babalik ba kami sa leaders being our stakeholders?
No, I am zeroing in on the employees who are victimized by this kind of situation.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Because again, you have a situation where ultimately the solution has to be delivered to the employees, but the employees, I don't think, are the ones paying for it. So you have to. Ultimately, you need to have a program that works for the employees, but you got to be able to package it so that the leader says, okay, you know what? I think you guys make sense. This is not something I can do or even really want to do by myself. So I think this makes sense. So why don't I just pay you guys so that my employees can have this? That's kind of like the situation. So obviously, it's got to be something that works for the employees. But it's got to be something that also speaks to the leader who has goodwill or who can be brought around to see yung kulang yung ginagawa nila, and then we can give them this. But you see, what Miguel and I are pointing at is there is a deeper thread, a broader thread that you need to flow into. Hindi lang to disrupted by COVID work from home people. These are people who generally work in environments for bosses who don't have the DNA and the programming to take care of them and to nurture them as whole human beings.
One way to look at this also, and this goes for everyone. I can probably share. I don't know if any of you are familiar with problem abstraction, which is basically trying to see problems from a broader perspective. Generally, as we're trying to go deeper, asking consecutive wise, things like that, it allows us to see, from a broader perspective, where you can take other pain points. I just to understand it better. So I'll share something around it after this session, but you may want to look into that a methodology of being able to see things from a broader perspective, but at the same time still know when to focus on certain things.
And then I have a feeling that when we listen to Eileen's platforms teams and what I am anticipating is a pivot, that you will see how your module here will fit into their portfolio. Eileen, can you
Yes.
turn on your mic?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Am I somewhat right?
Yes, it's somewhere there. Pero I don't know kasi the full extent of the type of material that the media house will be doing. But in the design that we have, because our pivot involves working with all of you guys, and the media house is a very, very crucial place in the map, the roadmap that we created.
Ganito na lang, Eileen. Is this one of the pain points that you are going to address in your restarts?
The employees themselves, and then the continuity after the COVID crisis. Is that the question?
In the sense of humanistic continuity, how do you restart human beings who have been traumatized for 30 days, 45 days? How do you re-inject purpose, courage, wholeness into them so that they can move forward?
Yeah. It's it's part of the formula.
Okay. Dandy, do you have anything? Are you okay to then give way to Eileen to see how your area might dovetail with them? Or
Of course.
okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Okay, sige.
Sorry.
Can you guys hear me? Yes.
Miguel, anything else before we leave Sila Dandy? We might circle back to Sila Dandy. But
yeah, let's hear what's in Eileen have to say. Then let's see how we can enrich each other. All right.
Go.
Okay. Sige, I'll start off with setting the stage. Nothing that you've seen yesterday is anything of what you will hear and see today. And this comes from a really deep realization from me last night when I was thinking through what happened when we presented. Na parang, at the end of the day, I really didn't know who our stakeholders were. I don't know them like kilala. One. Two, I also don't fully know our capabilities yet, because the platforms team is a new and growing team. So that being said, I felt like yes, in the near future we can go back to that project, but right now I decided to pivot the team into ideating and launching platform enabled revenue generating products or solution for Ignite that is relevant to the current times, aligned with the direction of Ignite and who it is serving, and that it can easily be MVP'd and then launched. So I added those parameters. So mas tighter na siya, because what you said yesterday was wala kaming focus. We were kind of like all over the place, and I did feel that when I was presenting. And so I needed a little tighter parameters for the team. We went into the conversation around our target stakeholder. It was a lot easier to determine who it is, because yung target stakeholder ng Ignite BD is our target stakeholder. So sino to? CEO, 1, 2 downs who have direct reports, HR, or related roles involved in people programs. And then Yes. Yes.
Disclaimer lang to everybody.
Mhm.
I did not intervene in this. This is not a result of
No.
intervention of mine. In fact,
Wala talaga.
after we woke up yesterday, I did not talk to Irene again until she clued me in this morning by sending her usual fucking PowerPoint presentations. Right? And then I realized, okay, she's coming around to it. But again, disclaimer, I had nothing to do with this. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we described who it is. The way Ignite describes our target stakeholder, and generally, for the CEO or the leaders, they're those who want or about to or currently implementing changes or introducing new ways of doing things in their organization. So we have RGC and some of their senior management as PEG. And then in terms of the company, top 100 PH companies, originally family-owned companies that grew over the years, and they're already exploring change, innovation, and new ways of doing things. So that's how we kind of like landscape who the is, and that's aligned with who we are targeting in Ignite. How do we encounter them? Well, CIC is an example of a client that we've worked with in years, and we've seen that our Ignite solutions have worked for them. So, and their pain is relevant to us because as part of Ignite, we have always been about elevating individuals and organizations, and we want to elevate Filipino companies at the level of their fullest potential. So, malapit na malapit talaga siya sa puso natin ng Ignite, and us also as an enabler, kasi the platforms team is an enabler. So when we were zeroing in on the problem, I realized this when all of a sudden, naalala ko yung meeting nung BD yesterday ba yun? Yes. When Andre was sort of cluing us on the things that he's concerned with, and nobody seems to be tapping into it. And so I decided, that's also a problem that I think we can help, that our capabilities would be able to support. So leaders these days, they ask these questions. How do I refocus my employees? How do I prepare them from when they return to work? How do I enable them to adapt to the next or the new normal? What tools are available out there? So in a nutshell, this was our question, our problem statement. How do I refocus my employees and restart my organization in the aftermath of COVID-19? We made a bit of an iteration on this problem statement. We returned to it once we were done with our product, because that it's not just aftermath of COVID that we can actually address. So how do I refocus my employees and restart my organization during and in the aftermath of COVID-19? So that's sort of the problem statement that we were trying to address. How did this crisis worsen for them? Well, nobody hardly knows what to do. Everyone is clueless. So that's how, we've never been in this situation before. There's no case study, no precedents that can be used as reference on how to address this major problem. So what is our vision of impact? From leaders not knowing how to refocus their employees and restart their organization in the aftermath of COVID-19, to leaders having a roadmap in implementing tools and systems that will enable refocusing employees and restarting the organization. That was our vision of impact. And our solution is a restart kit. What is a restart kit? A restart kit is a roadmap consisting of set of Ignite tools that enables a leader to refocus the people and restart the organization. So that's the solution. And we built the prototype. Maybe this part I need to share my screen.
Yeah, that's fair. That's your elevator paragraph already.
I didn't do an elevator paragraph kasi yesterday I was still stuck with that feeling na I don't know what to do next. So hindi ko talaga napakinggan yung ano nga ba yung hinihingi ni Andre na elevator paragraph? How does that sound? What is the intention? I just described the product. Na parang if I were talking to my friend and I were telling them, ano ba tong bibigay mo sa akin? What is the shortest way I can
in fact,
say
I
it?
don't know if Miguel will agree, but the paragraph you mentioned before you talked about your prototype sounds like an elevator
Okay.
paragraph.
Yeah.
Okay. Siguro ang problem ko lang, nilagay ko kasi yung Ignite tools. I don't know if that kind of like cloud sit for those na hindi familiar with Ignite tools. Maybe if I take it and I just put tools, it becomes more generic. Like anyone would know na it's tools. Unless we want it there because it's a brand thing. Doon ako medyo nagkaroon ng, when I was backtracking the
The first
sentence.
prototype elevator it was okay.
Okay, sige. So I will share, sige, I'll share my screen so I could show you. Please let me know if you can see it. Can you guys see it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. So Restart Kit, again, the Ignite Restart Kit is a set of tools that helps the leaders refocus its people and restart the organization in the time of, yun yung iteration sa problem statement, and in the aftermath of Corona crisis. What's the key feature of the kit? It covers tools that can be used while in the lockdown and after. And it uses existing capabilities of Ignite. And then I took inspiration from what Andre said yesterday in the BD meeting that before anything else, before sales, before marketing, it's the people first. So what you will see here would be two sets of solution. One is a pre-comeback solution, and then the next one is a comeback solution. So we'll talk about the pre-comeback solution first.
Sorry. Can you
Yes.
go back to the previous slide? I just want to explain what I said because I was quoted, bro.
Sorry.
This is not, guys, this is not an inspirational sentence, no. I'm not trying to talk ideologically. I'm talking operationally. I'm not talking about the people are the most important, although of course that is also the case, but that's not my point here. My point here is who's going to do your sales? Who's going to do your marketing? Who's going to run your operations? Who's going to run your supply chain? Who's going to run customer service? All of these are people. And these people are broken. They are in various stages of disrupted. Their worldview is shaken. They are shaken. So you cannot just go into sales marketing. You have to make sure the people are restarted first before you restart sales, marketing, operations, supply chain, customer service, or anything else. Okay. So this is not your usual it's people first kind of language. No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, good. So the Restart Kit is two sets of kit. The pre-comeback kit and then the comeback kit. So the framework I followed was to tap into our core, which is GPS, MCI, IT, and then sort through the list of solutions and tools that we already have in place and then put them together where they belong. So if you can see, the categories are discovering my GPS, recalling our mission, gearing up for the next normal, innovating in the next normal, and then there's the exploring wholeness. Under discovering my GPS, my purpose is really to get these employees started on the conversations around genius purpose and service while they are still in the lockdown. So the tools that are available at our disposal, EG Junior, the PeakPad webcast, of course, the microsite that we will build, that one single microsite that we'll build for this company that will take our service, and then digital content, the for example, the PeakPad webcast code cards, because we know we wanted to do that naman talaga. When we get to recalling mission, my objective is to help center the employees because they might have forgotten what their company mission is. So inside the microsite, we can put digital content that has letters from the CEO or leaders. If they have stock videos around their company mission, we can repurpose and upload that there. Other relevant company materials that they want loaded there because it's mission related. Infographics that we will design around mission and their role in the mission. And then we can even do a webcast where we interview their leaders, their parang CEO corner. And I took inspiration from CTV before, yung CEO channel. Diba we have episodes of the leader, pero yun pre-produced. This one, it's a webcast. Andre and the CEO, and they talk about mission, how the mission might change or not, given Corona and all. I wanted the CEO to be present, visible to the employees at this time and all the other leaders because it's needed talaga that they are approachable even if virtually. Gearing up for the next normal, my intention was to enable the employees to adjust to the next normal by providing them with a way to understand what it really means. So AHA this is this. I wanted to use Dandy's program and the writers program, give them a platform where they could get audience kasi relevant yung material nila for understanding what's going on now and how it would probably impact what this next normal is. And then Khalil's material, yung digital content ng must read kasi he's also been doing a lot of research on corona and then next normal, how this entire thing affects corporations and leaders. Then we get to innovating in the next normal. The purpose is to kickstart yung developing the skills needed in innovating in response to the next normal. So obviously, the 100H Launchpad app is a tool. The 100H Launchpad webcast is a tool. And then in terms of the digital content that would be loaded to the microsite, it's the key takeaway postcards. Then we get to the wholeness side, which is yung soul pad. So kinopy ko na lang, binarrow ko yung how intention nyo for soul pad, which is to help employees stay balanced and centered, so they can focus on the things that matter the most. So these are the standard offerings. Now, meron kaming add-ons, meaning on the way we operate, these things are on the side of these major things. So if the company wants it, then we can do it. If they want like full suite of it. So add-ons include something similar to Fossy, a specialized Viber group for their employee, or an FB chat, whatever works for them. The restart data kit, because we're doing diagnostics anyway, and post diagnostic and EG. I was thinking to use that idea also to measure something at the end of the restart kit execution. At this point, hindi ko pa alam kung ano yung gusto kong i-measure. Is it the level of readiness that I'm measuring? Is it their ability to adapt quickly? I haven't really thought of it. Carla and I are in that space of figuring out what this diagnostic is. And then custom-made social media group or page if they want it. Kasi we have a microsite, but they don't have, do they want a social media page for them, say, CIC of Corona, and all the contents in the microsite also gets reposted there for public consumption. So people know that they are tackling this and they really care about their employees. And then I just added custom-made solutions. I don't know what that is yet, but I just listed it down there. That's the pre-comeback restart kit. Any question before I go to the comeback restart kit? None?
Yeah, go ahead.
No question? Okay.
No.
Restart kit, yeah. Restart kit comeback. The idea is when they go back to work, meaning pwede na tayong mag-high touch engagement with them. Wala nang, for whatever reason, we're being locked out because of that. So, the categories are mas makonte, pero mas malalim siya. So the first category is exploring my GPSM na. Kasi nagkaroon na tayo ng extensive conversation about mission eh. So my purpose is to deepen that conversation around genius, purpose, and service, and now really tackle how those three ties to the mission of the organization. This is Ignite na. This is real Ignite. Iggy Jr. in the growth lab. So and then the purpose growth lab, the way we designed it, the postcards that come out in the microsites, ganyan. So the way we envisioned how we were supposed to do before COVID, our plan of what we're executing. Then you have wholeness in the next normal. So I wanted to make sure that the conversation around wholeness, hindi siya naiwan sa Soulpad, that we carry it over. Why? Because I was going through the roster of that untitled sheet ni Andre before. I was looking at all the solutions that we already ideated for. At least meron top of mind idea na tayo kung anong gagawin and which ones will be useful after COVID. So again, of course, there's the Iggy Jr. that would be used in if there's a wholeness growth lab. The 100D wholeness, I don't know what that is, but I know it exists and it will exist. Joanna still wants to keep the soul pad. We can keep it there. Of course, the postcard materials that's loaded in the microsite. Then innovating in the next normal is continuing lang yung exercises around launching innovations using 100H app for the next normal. And then and yung live high touch venue niya is the innovation growth lab. Or we'll redesign it around given yung experience natin. And then postcards and microsite. As you can see, this is how Ignite was before. So I kind of like figured, can we carry over some of who we are before this COVID and transpose it here, and how would it look like? And then the add-ons are still there if they want some of these add-ons. So yun yung difference nung pre-comeback at saka yung comeback. So ito yung sample editorial calendar. Di ko alam kung nakikita niyo siya for pre-comeback. In-envision ko lang kasi siya in my head. If I were a user and I was receiving all this content while I'm on lockdown, ano yung flow and itsura niya? So for instance, day 0, introduction siya. So it's an onboarding webcast where Andre and maybe the CEO talks about what this is for. Why are we doing this for you guys? Ganyan. Then we'll have an onboarding guide on the microsite. We can use the IGI for the initial diagnostic. Kasi di ba, Andre, we have diagnostic environments in IGI that we can use. It can be accessed during the webcast or they can access individually because we're locking it anyway. Day 2, we do PeakPad webcast. So IGI Junior stops on GPS. They're unlocked. And they can actually use it during the PeakPad webcast if that's part of the program flow, or they can use it independently. Then day 2 is the mission, how I described, how I envision the mission program to be like. Day 3 is the AHA Biz webcast. Day 4, and then day 4 is the Launchpad webcast where there's the Launchpad app. And then day 5 is when we'll use email and other platforms to delivering content. So there's an email digest that contains previews of all the following materials. Yung PeakPad quote cards, CEO corner quote cards, Corona must read, Launchpad postcards. So they're all just previews that when you click it, it lands you to the microsite where these contents are. And then of course, SoulPad exists across day 1 to day 5. And then the cycle just repeats until we get back into the comeback, which I haven't designed a flow for because meron naman tayo talagang parang architecture for that Ignite flow. So in essence, ito yung mga tools na ginamit ko, and then ito yung mga add-ons natin. So nothing is a new build as of now, as of today. And then how do we sell this? So dalawa yung naisip ko. It can be sold as an independent package. Restart, pre-comeback, restart, comeback, whatever they need. Or they can buy it together and then may discount. Or restart, comeback premium, meaning what we're really selling is the restart comeback, which is the Ignite program. And then the restart pre-comeback sort of comes as a package, as a bonus if they buy the restart comeback premium. Yun. That's it. Hindi pa to na-seek ng evidence and all. So, yun lang. Questions?
Go ahead, everybody. I will reserve mine for last so as not to preempt anybody.
I like the idea of a restart toolkit, which is very, kumbaga parang I see hope in selling that. I mean, me personally, I like the idea that this is a blended learning wherein we integrate the ones that we are doing before, and we are also thinking about customizing some of our stuff, not all, but some of our stuff in order for people to adapt with the new normal. Kasi like our challenge right now is, for example, you said something about growth lab, and doing that for the first part of it, yung initial part would be GPSM, and we, for example, invite them to a growth lab session. Now all we have to think about is how do we practice the social distancing behavior that we all need to apply to. So those are the things that we have to think about. But the whole idea of blended learning as to we are going to continue what we are good at doing and how we can impact other people through the programs that we have already delivered, and we know it works, but also customizing it depending on the customer's need right now. So medyo dun lang yung challenge na yon, which is I know si Andre kasi before he wants things easier for all of us na parang okay, dapat plug and play lang yan. Kung ano yung produkto natin, ito na yon. But I think what Eileen is proposing right now is yung parang maybe we can try customizing it nga according to what would work in an organization, because they also have their own mission, vision, and values.
Okay.
Yun lang, Emily.
All right, thanks, Grax. Agreed.
I mean, what?
Why do we have
Um,
echoing all of a sudden? Is it just me? I hear echoing all of a sudden. Go ahead, Miguel.
there is an echo.
No more.
All right. So, how do you plan to? Well, what's your like interface for this? Because there are a lot of like moving parts. Parang, I mean, how do you like centralize it through a microsite? Through um, I'm just getting a feeling that it might get a little overwhelming right now. Well, you may have listed everything, so you'll probably find ways to like tone that down. But like, what's your like, I guess, interface for this?
What I was envisioning was a microsite na specific sa company. I was thinking a page from how we build microsites for CIC. May specific talaga sila. That's part of what they buy, and then nandun yung mga content nila, whether written, infographics, video, it's all there. In the same manner that we built yung website natin for 100 hours, yung launch, all the launches. So nandun siya lahat, but it's custom it's for them. It's for, because they bought that, diba? So imagine applying what we did in the launch microsite na nandun yung mga programs, you click it, then you go into the page where the webcast is described, you click watch, yung ganyan. Nothing in the architecture.
There's a third phase for CIC.
Yes. Oh, yun, Andre, thank you. Ano pa akong peg? Yun.
And they just go in.
Mm-mm.
Are you talking about the interface for delivery, Miguel, or are you talking about the interface for PD and sales?
No, for like delivery, like parang, I mean,
well, give them time. I'm sure they will figure that out.
Yeah, I know. So I'm just putting it out there in terms of like, you know, because it parang it seems complicated, and we don't want it to seem complicated.
Hindi, I think
because there's just a lot of like moving parts.
Hindi. Kaya ako gumawa ng sample editorial calendar para ma-envision nyo kung end na experience ng user. Kasi ang nangyayari, they're only consuming content every day. One type of content every day. And each content falls under GPS ba to? Mission ba to? Ganyan. So it's not like we're overloading the content.
It's simpler than that. There's back end, there's front end. What you're going to see on the front end is an editorial calendar, much like what you see on 30 days. In fact, papalitan mo lang yung words konti, but 80% of it is what you see on 30 days.
Exactly.
Right? Yes. But what fills up the 30-day calendar, quote unquote, I don't know if it's 30 days, 60 days, or 120 days. What fills it up is what they choose on the back end as what they want. Do they want purpose? Yes. Do they want wholeness? Do they want GPS, MCI? Which of the GPS, MCII elements do they want? For what level of people? Parang ganun. You might even have a personalized editorial calendar or personalized 30 days depending on your user account as an employee. So, yeah, I would say that probably the challenging part here, I don't think it's a big deal, is imagine an org chart. CEO, Mancom, 1 downs, 2 downs. At each level, you basically have a suite of solutions that they can check. And a lot of it is going to be recurring. But obviously, the restart for C-level is probably going to be different, a bit different, and differently priced also from the restart for the other ranks in the company. Just like any other program for in peacetime, diba? The executive programs cost a lot more. But basically, the scope of what we do, because when you say restart, let's not live in some fucked up bubble, no? It takes more than Ignite to restart these companies. No, they're gonna have to restart supply chain, finance, operations. So it's not like we can be comprehensively a restart. No, so our scope and focus should be really about restarting people, leaders, and teams, so that whatever functional thing it is they need to restart, which is already beyond our scope, they can do. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So the scope, focus, and positioning of our restart is on people, teams, and leaders. In other words, on the human beings themselves. It's not on the functional restart of restarting finance, marketing, operations, or whatever. Okay? And then you simply go down the org chart and list down what the restart menu is at each level. Up to a certain level, it becomes a generic menu. And then based on what they select there is what gets reflected and deployed and operationalized on their 30 days calendar. Yes?
Yep. Yeah. Yung
Makes
part naman na yun, Andre, yung fleshing out how this would position itself sa BD, parang medyo expertise. Kasi diba, this project actually requires expertise from different parang kami, in the platforms, we create the boxes eh. Yung laman niya, Live Ignites team, and sila Dandy, and then itong BD position, all that. Sa inyo na yun, wala namang expectation na if-flesh out namin to that extensively. Anong expectation
let's not go there yet.
Okay.
Let me ask a few more questions. Dandy, please turn on your mic.
Yeah.
Do you see now the potential intersections with your stakeholders and your pain points?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I rest my case. All right. What's a lesson here? That I learned myself. Look, we are talking about the exact same stakeholders, target stakeholders, that we first zeroed in on in Tally when we did 100 hours. In fact, Eileen practically stole, copied, and pasted the description of the target stakeholder. Tama ba?
Intentional yun. Kasi we wanted to amplify that na pareho.
No, but that is good. That means that we are really focused on what we're doing. No? Because what happens is when you target the exact same stakeholder and then you go to the next level. What's the next level? Target pains. If you notice, in this case, what Eileen did was they're somewhat similar to the target pains we did for 100H. Pero umurong na yung timeline. Kasi in 100H, we had 3 pain points, if you recall. To refocus, to reorganize, to bang out stuff in a number of days, in 100 hours or less, during the crisis. Now the timeline has moved to after the crisis, during the restart period, or working towards the restart period, but it's more or less the same points. We, as a leader, my pain points are, I have no playbook. I don't know where to start. So the Delta statement proposed that, again, very similar to 100H. We're going to give you a toolkit. It's going to be step by step. You're going to see a roadmap. You just follow that roadmap. That roadmap is going to turn into programming, like more like 30 days. So my point is, this is very similar. What's nice about this is the following. It's the exact same stakeholder group, slightly different pains, but analogous yung pains, only because the timeline has moved. 2, 3, execution-wise and architecture-wise, we can reuse a lot of what we've done already. And we can reuse not just the formats and even the language. You don't understand how much time it takes, the language part of all the shit we banged out, how much time it takes to craft the language. That in itself is valuable legacy items or assets that we have that we can reuse. Even the confidence of our team to do this can be reused because we're basically going to retrace our steps, reuse a lot of tools. And we also have the confidence, by the way, of we've done this. When it was crisis time, when it was wartime, we did this. We showed up. And we're going to have the legitimacy, like very few others are, going to be able to say that. So target stakeholder, target pains, everything consistent, coherent, and there's going to be a lot of synergies. No, this is a sign again of a good team that is focused, that knows its GPS and knows how to attack. This is the same GPS, slightly different mission. The mission before was, is Carla only joining us now?
Yeah, I wrote a message sa chat box. Didn't see.
No, what happened?
Yeah, sorry, I got stuck in the on the way home.
Okay. Yeah, the point nga I'm driving home is this is the same GPS, led us to 100H, to 30 days, to all sorts of other programming. Now we're attacking a different mission, obviously related. It flows, like time flows, no? Now it's the restart. And we're innovating by reusing a lot of what we've done. So I would say though that Eileen, you developed this some more, but very soon I'm going to have to take over the the captaincy of this.
Okay, yes, please.
Then
Kasi,
my last confession was, you remember how I stole your mic a while ago? The truth is always stranger than fiction, no? Or somewhere between. So number one, it is true that I did not meddle with Eileen. She came to this on her own discernment. But number two, I was waiting for some team to find their way into this discernment. And if they didn't, I was convinced we needed to do this. So this was gonna get done whether or not. And of course, this is gonna stretch across all our resources so that unless Media House sees something else, Media House would probably have to be folded into this execution.
definitely. Sobrang importante nung content dito eh. Nilagay siya as a major pillar na delivery, and I called it digital content. So they can explore other formats eh. Right now, code card and postcards pa lang yung meron tayo. But labeling it as digital content gives them more liberty about anong pwedeng material and format they can.
Media House plays a role in the solutions architecture, no, in a few ways. Number one is to carry out what pre-COVID they had been doing in terms of postcards and all that, no. That'll be an important component of the delivery. But I see also here the possibility of resurrecting some of the channels, as Eileen correctly pointed out, that we were doing in CTV.
Yes, CEO channel in particular.
CEO channel in particular. Vision, mission, values as part of the CEO channel suddenly comes into play again. And all of a sudden, that age-old problem that we had, that we and our clients got stuck on before, which is nobody wants to watch videos and use digital applications for this. Well, guess what? In the last 30, 45 days, that's all they have. So a lot of the digital hurdles will have been eroded a lot. And leaders will now be more savvy, I think, about proactively pursuing digital mechanisms, particularly for things like we're restarting. I've got to have a CEO presence. I've got to have a strong voice. They need to see my face. They need to see my confidence. They need to see that we are ready, right? That's the CEO channel is good for that. We can also offer our services IDF style, Delta Force style, in terms of retooling their vision, mission, values, so that it is more. I mean, this is just so earth-shattering what we're going through right now. That really, if I'm the CEO of a company, I would think that my vision, mission statement cannot just exist the way it did before. It somehow needs to encapsulate this this pandemic experience that we all went through. No, now I don't expect everyone to buy into that, but we'll certainly offer that as a value-added service. On the GPS front, you guys watch out for how I play the retreat tomorrow, because I think you're going to be able to take that praxis and the tools and roll it out as a product. The retreat tomorrow. So all in all, well, I'm grateful that Eileen was, somebody bitch slapped Eileen, not me, into this consciousness. I have to say, good job.
Thank you. That's it. Oh, I want to thank my team kasi technically, though I discerned this yesterday, I had to like really ask them to spend time redoing the entire exercise. And they spent a lot of time doing dun sa platform as a service. Shinare ko nga to kay Andre na-experience din namin na si Je in particular, I have to call him out kasi learn for him na in love talaga siya dun sa solution namin before. So parang he was very honest in saying na, wait lang Aya, I'm gonna sleep on this because medyo attached pa ako dun sa una nating ginawa. So all yung experience namin yesterday, I think really helped us also as a new team to figure out who we are in the team. Enabler team kasi talaga kami. So yun yung parang GPS namin. And we don't necessarily have to build for ourselves, but we can build something with you guys and na-align dun sa objective talaga ng Ignite. Parang nandun yung value add namin ngayon as a team. Yun lang.
Okay. Anybody else before we leave Eileen?
Sa akin lang, I also appreciate, aside from Eileen, I appreciate yung kay Dandy also. Listening yesterday, I was really interested with their stakeholder, which is yung employees nga, and yung problem nga of upskilling and retooling their people. Kasi for this to be true, I understand where Andre's coming from when you're talking about now people don't have choice but to go digital. But to tell you frankly, in organizations at peace, they're already having a hard time as to training their people. Like if you give them a link and say, "Hey, study this Privacy Act for the bank," for example, only 10% of the 100% pie goes to that link and actually learn. So imagine at war, how many percent right now would people follow as to learning online? So ang laking challenge talaga nun. So when Dandy was bringing that up, actually, it's really more about how do we now move forward after this COVID? Because once everything goes back to the new normal, it's not going to stabilize until many years from now. We don't know when. But in terms of what Eileen has been saying, yung blended learning nga, for us as a team, it's really going to be a challenge because but an opportunity as well as to how we can collaborate with these practitioners, these leaders outside who wants to make an impact to their people. Na parang, how are we gonna make Media House be more exciting or be more intuitive as to making their employees learn, for example, yung mga ganon. So we have to be more advanced than them, but not in a matter of being a subject matter expert, but at least igniting their people. So I appreciated C. Dandy's point of view yesterday, which I think has a very huge alignment with Eileen's project.
I just want to comment that what happens in peacetime, where people are digitally untransformed, right? We know that they're having problems with apps, online, anything. I think what happened in the pandemic is good in that sense because everybody's forced to go digital for 30 days, 45 days. I mean, that's all you have, right? Look at Zoom. I mean, how many losers were on Zoom before this happened? Now every motherfucking loser is on Zoom, right? It's just a different world, and we need to take advantage of this. Blended learning is good, but I would think that a lot of it is still going to be the opportunity now is to do a lot of the blended side on the side of digital, no? And I don't think that is lost on CEOs either. Because look, this pandemic's not going to be over in 2 weeks. It's not going to be over in 2 months. It's probably going to come back in the fall. This is not over. So I like where we've practiced a lot on digital. You watch the next 100-hour Launchpads. That'll be the 6th one already. Well, including this, but we learned a lot already. Miguel and I learned a lot. You will see iterations. We have powerhouse guests. So we've learned a lot. Our learning curve in terms of doing digital effectively, compellingly, is already rising. No? So let's go digital. Blended, if we can go blended, but let's really pounce on digital. So I see a future again for corporate TV to pour out its old bag of tricks, the CEO channels, even the Salesforce channels, Service Force channels. All of those will become good again. Can we now leave this space and go to Joanna's group? Are we okay with that? Okay, Joanna, can we keep it short and just give us your elevator pitch, please?
Yeah. Okay. So here's our elevator paragraph. Title is Ignite Wholeness Fellas. 15 Days of Ignite Wholeness is a 3-week intensive fellowship program on wholeness and peak performance. We offer up various digital experiences, employing a mix of tools and media to train business leaders to ultimately become experts in the art of corporate wholeness. As in any training course, the fellowship journey involves beginner, intermediate, and expert levels, culminating in a certification for the courageous souls who dare to finish the program and be certified Ignite Wholeness Fellows who ignite their own organizations and beyond.
Miguel.
Well, it sounds pretty much like what you had yesterday, but of course you got to focus more on it. I'm not sure what to say actually right now.
So
I'm gonna take a stab first, Andre.
what's different between today and tomorrow is I noticed some keywords that I'm sure was intentional, deliberate. So instead of talking about them as you talked about them as fellas, no? I'm not your market, but I like that. At least there's that internal consistency there. There was the keyword of licensing. There's the keywords of how do you get licensed? Well, it's a 50-day program. What do you do when you become licensed? You now have the ability to do this and that. So I think it's clear. Except in the middle of that paragraph when you say a variety of, can you go back to that? A variety of
Various digital experiences employing a mix of tools and media.
So
Business.
instead of saying variety of digital experiences, I would say a programmed sequence, parang more curricular, di ba? Hindi lang just variety. It is programmatic and curricular.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So they really basically you're answering what is this called? It's a FELA certification program. How do you get certified? It's a 50-day program that has a curriculum, mostly digital, consisting of a mix of formats. What can you do with a fellowship? You will now be certified. What can you do with the fellowship or the license? You can now roll out programs for Ignite that Ignite programs that build wholeness as part of your people and team offerings, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying state it that way. I'm just saying you answered all those questions. What are the next steps here, Miguel?
Create based on your elevator paragraph. Let's create a, what would your prototype of this be? Maybe some marketing material. Let's see if we can, just to get a clear idea. I think, what did you want to name this again? Ignite.
Wholeness Fellas.
Wholeness Fellas. Okay, so parang, let's see how people, I mean, in all honesty, it's a matter of getting it out to people, getting feedback, and then see if it sticks or not.
So
if it's something that we can build on.
I think this is similar to MA's situation where let's get it out and test it as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm. So I'll help na rin also.
You can work with them. My only question here, quite frankly, and I have to do some reflection on this, is if we're going to execute on the Eileen startup portfolio, restart portfolio, do we dedicate the team there? I do not have the same question about the shared services team. I think the shared services team should go ahead and pursue their project, because to begin with, the shared services team has very little contribution to Eileen's restart portfolio. But the team that is with Joanna has a lot of involvement, and Joanna herself will have a lot of involvement in building up and rolling out the restart portfolio, which has obvious timelines, right? The restart solution only makes sense in the next 2 weeks up to April 30, right? If we declare a restart then, I mean, I think it will still be relevant after that, but obviously the window is better the faster, the earlier we are in the market offering the restart. So my question is whether to shelf this and dedicate the entire team, XMA and shared services, on the restart project.
Actually, when Eileen was already talking about it, that's what's going on at the back of my head. The beauty of this project that we have designed, it's a long-term thing. If you notice, there's no mention of COVID or anything about that, right? It's a long-term wellness program, which is actually very just intentional. And also maybe bits and pieces of this can also fold into what Eileen has designed. So that's what's going on inside my head while Eileen was talking.
I agree with both your points. I mean, that's why I said shelf. No, I like the long-term legs of what you're talking about. It certainly takes Ignite out to a a different frontier. And it's not time sensitive, so it can be shelved. It can be put on the shelf, which means it can be taken back out of the shelf. And I do agree that some components of what you mentioned can be integrated into what Eileen is doing. No? So,
Eileen, can you maybe determine what an MVP would look like for this?
No, not yet. I haven't really thought of it that far.
Yeah.
Maybe I have some thoughts about that. Kasi Eileen mentioned a lot about SoulPad. The way we're iterating SoulPad now, kumbaga, ini-integrate ko na yung GPS. Okay? So it's not talagang yung SoulPad tool that we're doing in the morning. In fact, for those who attended this morning, is actually a prep for tomorrow's retreat, right? It's about being able to guide people in terms of discerning the manifesto. Going through the manifesto, not alone, but with somebody guiding them to listen to their inner voice. So whatever, that's the SoulPad. Kumbaga, nag-evolve na yung SoulPad. It's not just wellness per se, but it's actually targeting already wholeness. And then yung wholeness aspect then, with the wholeness fellas, we're the IGI Junior, the IGI boosters, the IGI app as a whole is actually part of this. So in terms of architecting the whole program, of course, hindi ko pa nagagawa yun, no? But before we start architecting it, pwede na siyang i-test in terms of what you have designed, what Eileen has designed. Right? Because later on, it's gonna be elevated. Meaning, if we're gonna have Ignite Wholeness Fellas, mas in-depth yung training nila, then what's good is that with the starter kit and the whole program that's along with it, matatest na natin if it's really working, if this is what they need, and as leaders, will this work for them? If this kind of...
I have to make a decision quick. It's already Holy Wednesday. We're breaking up soon. The next time we're going to have real conversations is Monday again, all right? So I'm going to make this call. I'm going to make it decisive. We're going to... Somebody's talking.
Sorry.
Okay. So what was I saying? We're gonna focus everything on the Eileen. Let's just call it the Eileen restart right now. We need all hands on deck for that. So over the next few days, I'm gonna keep that in mind. I'm sure Eileen's gonna keep that in mind. Let's all rechannel our energies on that. Eileen, if you could send out materials summarizing your stops, what you've done so far.
Yeah.
I do think that we need to do a restart ourselves. What do I mean? Let's restart with a stakeholder, the target pains, the target impact from two statement, and then let's look at the problem solving part with fresh eyes. There's something to be said about what Eileen's doing in terms of repackaging everything we did, no? But I don't want it to be a solution also where we're forcing everything back that we did, forcing everything back into the portfolio of solutions. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As much as possible, of course, we want to reuse or repurpose things that we've already done. But that's if and to the extent they are relevant to the problem discovery that we're doing with the restart, which is very different from saying, let's just look at everything we're doing and try to package it into our restart kit. No. So, yun lang. Expect, therefore, that on Monday when we regroup, that we will be, at least it's clear now, Grax, from a BD lens, what we're going to be selling.
Yeah.
In a May, June timeframe, hindi ba?
Yep.
Because the previous things we were selling, that's not really a conversation opener post-corona, post-pandemic. You know, we can't suddenly be talking to them about the growth runway, growth labs, growth OS, hindi ba? Medyo tone deaf yun eh, di ba? But
yeah, this one is
this restart portfolio of solutions is exactly the kind of conversation starters we can have from a BD perspective. Starting even, it's good the government already gave a timeline, although I do not believe it. But their timeline says end of April. I believe that last week of April, they're going to extend it again. No, probably another 2 weeks. We're going to go on 2-week cadences from here. But when you have timelines already about when ECQ is going to stop or to end, and when the markets are going to be reopening, then you can more legitimately have BD conversations with business leaders about restart. And that's what we have. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I just want to say is it's easier to talk about, and it's centralizing ourselves, our company, to customers and saying that, hey, we care about you, we care about your problems, and you know, it's basically having that compassion for them, not really saying that, you know, we have a product, we're selling this, but it's more like being on a human level. You know, we just wanna we also just want to experiment if this one works, you know. So parang, but it's an easier conversation starter.
Well, it's the only conversation starter I can think of, given this environment, from the point of view of sales. Okay, so any questions? Otherwise, let's adjourn and we'll see each other tomorrow.